Everybody. Erika Robinson here from In the Company of Cards. Welcome back if you're not new here, and there are many, many, many new people here. So, welcome to you for the first time. I'm delighted to have surpassed 1,000 subscribers. Very exciting. Um, and let's get into it, shall we? Um, I guess I'll first remind you that I am the author of The Language of Lenormand. This book will teach you how to read the cards that I read. The deck that I'm using is my deck, and it's called Erika's Lenormand of Hope, if you're interested in that, if you like the deck. And as always, I encourage you to leave questions for me in the comments that you'd like me to ask my cards. Happy to do that. Please like, share, and subscribe as well. Okay, so let's clean up uh, the last reading, not clean up the last reading, but I'd like to comment on the last reading. And the last reading was just prior to the vice presidential debate. So, as I suspected, Vance would try to, um, in a snake oil salesman kind of way, clean up his image. I think that attempt was transparent. I'll just call it transparent. I mentioned that Waltz would be nervous in the beginning. And I mean, the beginning kind of extended a little bit into the middle. He was nervous. And, he had said to Harris when she picked him, just so you know, I'm not a great debater. So he's not a great debater, but I think he did come across as an honest broker and not oily at all. I wish that there had not been so much mm, politeness back and forth because sometimes, I mean, you don't want to normalize something that's not normal with a layer of a veneer of politeness over the top. But I do suspect that those were the marching orders that Waltz received and obeyed, which is, let's keep this low key. Let's keep this debate as much as possible looking like what we in America used to think that a debate should look like before certain people, looking at you 45, hit the scene. And so I guess that was why there was the handshaking before and after, and the politeness. And I will say that sort of helped lower the temperature. We were all sort of anxious because we've had some crazy debate experiences to date, the other two. So, it did kind of cool things off, but you don't want to normalize crazy. And I hope that nobody was fooled by Vance's mansplaining snake oil charm. Okay, moving forward, there are a couple of things I want to look at. Both of them Trump related. So the first one has to do with Jack Smith's dropping of his 100 and however many, 62-page note to Judge Chutkan, which is a very sort of elegant, streamlined, to the point document outlining the behavior of 45 that cannot be called, under the umbrella of his presidential duties, but was done in as private acts. And so 45 is, of course, furious that this document dropped, calls it election interference, probably trying to make it seem as though it's akin to Robert Mueller dropping the Hillary email thing right before the election. I'm going to argue that there is no comparison, but what I'd like to ask is, in terms of the electorate, will that document move the needle? Will people, how will that document affect the election? I guess we'll just look at that. And as always, the card for the election will be the letter, because those are, we'll pretend that those are votes, or we'll intend that those are votes. So what effect will Jack Smith's new document to Judge Chutkin have on the election? Okay, so let's hammer down and cut the deck. And we're going to be looking for the letter. Okay. Oh, popped right up. So here's our letter. Here's the two cards that come before it and the two cards that come after it. Okay. We have the bear, the older woman, the letter, the younger woman, and the bouquet. I'm going to say that sometimes this is my card for 45, but sometimes it's not. And I'm going to say that this is just a boss move, because a bear is a boss move that will be good for the Democrats, for Harris. Bouquet is a gift. It's a gift. He will consider it an unfair gift, 45, but it's a gift. And then we have the second card, which is Harris. Third card is the vote. And then we've got young women and we've got the bouquet. Young women are pivotal, and issues around young women, namely Roe, are pivotal to this vote. So I think, if anything, it will remind people about the horrors of January 6th, of the criminality of 45. And I don't think that this drop will have done, the drop of this document will do 45 any favors. We could have guessed that, but I just wanted to check and ask the cards. Okay, the second and last question that I'm going to look at for today has to do with 45's comment that what he believes should happen with, among others, the Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, is that, who are there legally, that they should be deported. And there's a Facebook person that I follow. Her name is Allie Henny, Allyhenny. And she made an interesting point that I think is worth looking at in the cards, which is that, you know, 45 has said that, he wants to end birthright citizenship. Well, what does birthright citizenship mean? It means that if you were born in this country, even if you were born to people who are non-citizens, birthright citizenship is conveyed upon children of said immigrants born in this country. Trump wants to eliminate that. Well, this put YouTuber, I mean, not YouTuber, but Facebook writer Allie Henny in mind of something that she remembered 45 talking about when he was first running back in 2018, 2019. And it brought to mind for her the Dred Scott decision. So the Dred Scott decision is, by many people's measure, the worst Supreme Court move ever. And in that decision, bottom line, the decision said that Black Americans who were enslaved, brought over here on slave ships, were not citizens. and therefore did not have all of the rights and privileges that the Constitution allows for its citizens. Um, now a war was fought over that and everything else, and also what resulted was the 14th Amendment. The 13th Amendment outlawed slavery, but the 14th Amendment is a different thing. And the 14th Amendment is the one that 45 would like to have overturned. And for the 14th Amendment is what I said. It says that people, um, citizenship is granted, right, to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, thus conferring upon them, of course, all of the rights of citizenship. Trump would like to outlaw that. Now, we can look at it from whatever distance perspective we have and say, oh, okay, well, that's about immigrants. But it could be about more than immigrants. In other words, could he not, in a long range kind of way, intend for that to also include the descendants of slaves, right? If the 14th Amendment's abolished, well, then that means that the Dred Scott decision could be revisited because we've got this court that decides what are they originalists. Um, you know, they might be all for that. So is 45's long-term intention not just the removal of the country from the country Haitian immigrants who are of recent arrival, but could his intention be broader and wider than that? Because how else would one make America great again? Asking for a friend. So I think, what do I want to use? I think let's use that letter card again. And in this time, the letter will stand for uh, the abolition of the 14th Amendment. Is that 45's ultimate goal? Because that would have very wide-ranging ramifications for anyone like me who is the descendant of slaves. Okay, so let's look at that. So again, we're charging the letter again, but this time we're charging it with the energy of 45's intention in relation to the 14th Amendment. Okay. Does he want to strip citizenship ultimately from African Americans, descendants of slaves? Okay. So we have the ring, we have the mice, we have the letter, we have Clover, and we have Fox. All right, the ring. I feel like, yeah, that he would love to do that. I'm not saying that it would be done, but then again, I didn't think Roe would be overturned either. This, to me, the ring feels like a revisiting of an issue. In this case, what's the issue? The 14th Amendment, which again, remember, confers citizenship on naturalized and naturally born in the US citizens. Okay. Um, I'm asking 45, is his intention to get rid of that or to expand who would be covered by any kind of overturning of the 14th Amendment? So this is the revisiting of that. Now, mice. I don't like the mice here. I mean, I don't think Allie Henny, that Facebook person, and I are the only ones worried about this. You remember that poem, first they came for the Catholics and I didn't say anything, and then they came for the Jews and I didn't say anything, and then they came for the curly haired people and I didn't say anything, and then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. Well, this is all the people that could be come for, so to speak, if 45 were to get in power, because he would look at revisiting that 14th Amendment. And he's got a court that would probably be just as happy to do that. Okay, so here we've got this 14th Amendment. And then we've got Clover. Now, Clover it's a great card, lucky, but I feel like it's his luck. It would be his luck. He would create this anxiety in people so that even if it never came to anything, there would be that sword of Damocles hanging over everybody's head. Uh, and then the last card is the fox. And this fox, remember, he is swimming in mushrooms. I mean, it's the ultimate card for deception and double dealing and bad intent. It's got a lot of wonderful meanings too that are very benign and positive, but in this case, it's that. And that's because I can mirror these two cards together. This is the revisiting of the 14th Amendment and doing it in a slick, slimy, uh, sneaky way, so as to sow fear amongst the parts of the population that would be at risk. Again, namely anyone who is descended from slaves, of course, as well as the immigrant population. So that's a scary thought. Oh no, okay. And then there is another question that I wanted to look at. I've looked at this before, but I keep telling you that energy is mutable, right? Meaning things shift and things change. I did a big video a couple of videos ago about 45's October because I thought that for him it was going to be the month from hell. And um, I just want to look at how he's doing. So I think what I want to look at is his health. So the card that we're going to look for once it's not going to be the letter, the card we're going to look for is the tree, because that is the card for health. But remember, it's health in all its iterations, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I predict that this is a bad month for him, but now we are actually in October. I saw the third week in October being particularly precarious for his health, but I just want to see how he's doing. I mean, I don't care like a friend would care, but I care for the country. How is his health doing? All right, so let's look. Okay. So remember, we're looking for the tree and we're asking how 45's health is. Look at the bottom of the deck is the moon, and that's reputation. And of course, his reputation, he's very, he wants people to think well of him, and a lot of people don't. So, but anyway, let's look for the tree. Again, remember, please put in the comments questions that you'd like me to address, and I'd be happy to do it. So here's our tree. So that's Trump's health in all its all the ways, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And the two cards that go to the left, and then the two cards that go to the right. Okay. So we have the birds, the heart, the tree, the tower, and the mice. I think I'll pull some clarifiers to just elaborate a little bit more on this message, but before I do, let's look at the five. Birds. There's a lot of talk about him right now. The birds is the card for talk. And a lot of it is not complimentary. People are talking about the fact that he appears to be decompensating. His speech is all over the place. His rhetoric is more violent. So there's a lot of conversation about it. I can mirror this card with the last card, which is mice. And again, this is the card for illness, decomposition, compensation, health being eroded and sort of nibbled away at, anxiety, worry, stress. So there's a lot of talk about his mental and psychological health. That said, the second card is the heart. And I have said that I saw a entertainment purposes only YouTube, a cardiac event in the offing. And so the fact that the heart shows up makes me wonder whether we are marching towards that cardiac event. In the middle, we have the card for health itself. And then the fourth card that we can mirror with the tower is the heart. Now, we can also, because now we're mirroring it, we're looking at it with a card together. I think that this speaks to his emotional state. Um, who loves him, really, truly loves him? Who loves him in a way that is not transactional, meaning I love you because you give me stuff or you do stuff for me. Who can he say in his life loves him in a true way, in a way that's not transactional? I don't think anyone. Really and truly, I don't think anyone. This is the card for feeling isolated, alone, besieged and beset because you're in a tower and it's the water surrounding it and you're all by yourself with, not even a rowboat to get you out of there. Normally, the tower has some very positive meanings, but I think this is his emotional isolation. I think that he even could be encouraged to leave. I mean, the incentive would have to be financial, of course, in order for him to leave. And of course, it would throw everything into turmoil. But beyond that, I mean, we're not looking at that right now. We're looking at his health, and I think this is a man alone. So I'm going to pull some clarifiers. I mean, if you're an empath, as I am, you cannot help but feel some type of way about this. It's sad. Is it of his own making? Yeah, but is it sad? Yeah, it's sad. Okay, so I'm going to pull clarifiers. And I'm pulling three for each of those five cards. Remember that the topic that we're looking at is 45's health. Okay, this is really interesting. So remember that our first card was birds, and then I identified that as all of the chatter, all of the meetings, formal and informal, that are being held behind the scenes about his health. And the clarifiers are the crossroads, the ship, and fish. And okay, what's a little eerie about this is I just said this. I just said the very thing that these cards show. So let me break that down for you. Okay, what is the talk? What's the conversation? Among, for example, the party members, we need to find an exit strategy, crossroads. We need to find a way out, an alternate way out so that we can move forward. And the only way to do that will be to pay him. This is the card for money. I swear, I really think he will mentally decompensate to the point where they will say, look, let's just see if we can buy him off, buy him out, because this is untenable. Again, what would happen after that is another story entirely. It's another reading for another day. But there is, and there has been, because this is kind of a past line, there have been conversations going on about how to extricate themselves from the clutches of 45. They want to find an escape route so that they can move forward and he can sail away, but they know it's going to cost them money. Okay. Second card was the heart. And I remember I read this two ways. One is that I think that it's a precursor, a portent of an imminent cardiac event. But the other way that I read it is that, when I mirrored it with the tower, that he is just heartsick to whatever he has, to whatever extent he's got an emotional heart. And of course he does, because he's a human being. I mean, he is. Um, this is his emotional self that's wounded. And we have the star, the young man, and the sun. I don't think he sees himself the way that the rest of us see him. I think he still sees himself as a contender, as someone who can take on all comers, who someone who has a future as the president. But we know this about liars, that sometimes liars can be so mm, so practiced in their craft, we'll call it, that something psychologically happens to them and they believe their own lies. I really think that he thinks, God knows he doesn't want to be black, but that he sees himself as young, vibrant, virile, viable. Of course, he is none of those things. So there's some delusion. When we're looking at this in terms of health, I mean, he is just not in a rational place. All right. Now, the tree, of course, is our center card. And whatever that center card is and whatever those center clarifiers are really important. And when I pulled them, it was all I could do to not gasp. But here they are, clarifiers for the tree: the cross, the scythe, the snake. Some physical or emotional or some outside threat awaits him. So, put your seatbelts on. It could happen at any time because this is a present line. This can happen at any time. What is the this that I'm referring to? This is his health. Something bad happening. This is a card for pain, for suffering. And then, oh my gosh, a scythe is, and it's a weapon, some kind of weapon. Doesn't have to be a knife, could be a gun. Entertainment purposes only, could be a heart attack. Whatever it is, it's not good because the snake is a problem. Problem is an actually understated word. To see this in the center was really, really startling. We're in the first week of October. Second week's coming up in a couple of days. This event, whether it's another A attempt, if you know what I mean, if it is a cardiac event, if it is some sort of psychological decompensation on a grand scale event, we are on the doorstep of it. Okay. Now, the tower was our fourth card in the original line. And remember, when I looked at it and I mirrored it with the heart, it spoke to sort of loneliness, feeling of being besieged and attacked, feeling isolated, bereft of friends and confidants. And the clarifiers are the ring, the clover, and the stork. That's interesting. Okay. So the ring, you know, mm, the ring says that this state, right, that I just described is ongoing. So there's that. It doesn't end. The circle is round, it has no end. And that's how long I want to be your friend, Girl Scout song. Um, this cycle is continuing. But these cards are really, really interesting because they're good cards. Clover is luck, and Stork is positive change. Well, let me say, anytime someone falls ill or someone is injured in some way, people tend to um, suspend their disgust for a person or their dislike of a person and express sympathy, compassion, right? Where people are compassionate. So I think that this thing will happen and people will feel some compassion towards him. Not that this is the card for compassion, mind you, because it's not. It is one of the happiness cards, but it's kind of I always say it's fleeting, it's ephemeral. It's kind of like I don't know, the A attempts were made, right? And Biden, Harris called 45 to say, uh, we're really glad you're okay. And in the moment, I'm sure they were very sincere about that. But in the long term, does it change their perception of who he is and the danger he poses? It does not. It's just a quick thing. John Donne, any man's death diminishes me because I'm involved in mankind. Therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. I think there will be some positive feeling um, shown towards 45 in light of whatever this catastrophic event is that will happen prior. But again, it will be short-lived. This, this, what? These, this positivity towards him, and positivity. What I mean by that is sympathy, empathy, concern for a fellow human being having been felled in some way by we don't know what, but something cataclysmic. And then the last card in the line of five was the mice. And remember that I talked about this as fear, anxiety, stress, worry. And the clarifiers for it are the older man, the book, and then the key. I think that here this is 45, but it's 45 appearing old and infirm, and it will leave things um, confused because the book is about things we don't know. So things up in the air and in flux. Now, what's interesting is that this last card here is the key. Keys answer questions. And I can mirror this key, which is the last card, with the first card, which is the birds. But I do think that whatever this cataclysmic event is, whether it's another A attempt, whether it is a cardiac event, whether it is a psychological break, will sort of amp up the conversation among the Republicans as to, okay, we need to figure this out. What's going to be our solution to this? Are we going to bump up Vance to the top spot, which of course will ensure their loss? will we have to say, well, who got the most votes, second most votes in the convention? Because that was Nikki Haley. Should Haley be tapped to take his place? Something's going to happen, something big. And then this is a full spread. It's almost my full 23 card spread. So I'm going to pull the 3 cards that we have left. We've already done 20, and this will be the final commentary on this on the situation, which is his health. So, okay, we have the lily, we have the letter, and we have the bouquet. I'm going to say that whatever the event is, whatever this terrible, horrible, no good, very bad event that happens to him, I think that it sews up the election for Harris. That's what I think. People are just going to want calm. Just let's settle this. That's the card for the lily. This is votes. And then this is the bouquet, the gift. The gift is the end of this era, if you know what I mean. This 10-year nightmare. That's what I think. So, talk about going out on a limb. That was quite the limb. I would just say, don't be surprised if in the next week or two, his health, for whatever reason, takes a bad turn. So that's what I see. I think that's it for today. Let me say again, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of my new subscribers and all of your kind comments and likes. I really appreciate it. I really would like this to continue to be a dialogical endeavor, meaning please do uh, post your questions in the comment section and I will answer them as I can with the cards. Um, this is a fun ride. I hope that it's helpful. I hope that it is something that you find supportive. Uh, and just let me know what you'd like me to look at. And again, please tell your friends, and I will see you next time. Take care.